ಹೇಳಿ ಮೇಡಮ್.
Okay, a very good morning to all of you. Today we are going to discuss about the logic design lab. So this is the trainer kit, what you all can see. Okay, so here you have four slots basically for putting your ICs. Okay, the integrated circuits. These are your ICs. Okay, these ICs have, these are called as the pins on the left and right. Okay, some ICs are 14 pin, some are 16 pin, etc. Okay, so now these are the ICs. This is IC, this is 7408. Okay, this is for AND gate, and this is called as a quad IC. Quad means as I explained to you all, it has four AND gates in this IC. That is, this IC has four AND gates. I explained to you all that this is 14 pin. Out of the 14 pins, 2 pins are for VCC and ground. So 14 minus 2 is 12. Okay, and AND gate takes a minimum of 2 inputs. Okay, so the 7408 is a 2 pin AND gate IC. Okay, so 2 inputs and a gate gives you a single output. So totally 3 pins are required for one gate. So how many? 12 divided by 3 is 4. So you have 4 AND gates in this IC. Okay, so now these are the slots for putting your IC. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 and here the fifth one. Okay, now how do you and these are the patch cards. Okay, these are the patch cards where these are nothing but the connecting wires. The patch cards are nothing but the connecting wires. Earlier and all, when we used to do, we used to get only wires where you had to loosen this knob, then you had to insert the wire and then again tighten it and all. But you all are very lucky, you have got these patch cards. But you should be very careful while taking out this patch card. Okay, so we have these patch cards which will be given to you. These are nothing but the connecting wires. Okay, now I'll just give a demo of how to use this. So this is your digital circuit trainer kit or the digital IC trainer kit. So now what you can see here is the slot for the IC. Okay, to insert the IC. These are your input pins. These are your these are the pins for the IC, and these pins what you can see here are for input and for output. Here you can put into any slot. Okay, input and output you can put to any slot, and these are the switches where you can switch from high to low and low to high. And but here you can use any pins, but here when you are using, it is specific to the IC which pin you are using. Okay, so now I'll just switch on this trainer kit. Okay, I'll switch on this trainer kit. The power button is here. I have switched it on. Okay, now I'll just give you a demo of how this AND gate works. So whenever you are inserting the IC, okay, you will have a notch here. Okay, you can find a notch here. So this should be the top position. That is, this should be inserted in this way. If you tilt this and if you insert, then your IC will be burnt and also it will not work. Okay, so you have to pay for it. So don't do that mistake. So you have to insert it in this, that is this notch should be facing the top. Okay, so now what you are supposed to do is, this is the slot for inserting the IC. You can use any of the slots. Like when I am just showing you the this one demo for just the basic gates and all, how you realize the gates. In that case you use only 1 or 2 slots, but for all other experiments and all, you may have to use more than 1 or 2 slots. Okay, for that comparator experiment, for you have a 2-bit comparator experiment, you have to use all the 5 slots. Okay, so now what I have done, see, this IC inserter slot is in this position. Now you have to release this lock. Okay, now I'll insert the IC. When you are inserting the IC, see, I told you some ICs are 14 pins, some are 16 pin. So here the this IC basic gates like 7408, 7400, 7432, 7404, all these are 14 pins. So now, but here you have a in the slot you have a provision for 16 pins, because you will have ICs of both 14 as well as 16 pin. So now what you can do is, when I am inserting a 14 pin IC, you can either leave the first row or the last row. So I will leave the last row. Okay. So now after inserting this, I will lock this again. Okay, you have to lock this, otherwise it will not sit tightly. Now what you have to do is, for this I remember the pin details for the IC. For each IC you have a different pin details. Okay, but for some of the ICs it is the same, for some it will differ, and it is by the manufacturer. So you need not mug up that IC details will be given to you all in the test or exam or for the regular class. Even in your lab manual we have given the pin details. Okay, so now in this, see, I have inserted the slot, so I have left the last row. So how I should count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so now I have to leave the last row, that is these two pins. Now this becomes 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So now for this particular IC, 7 is given for ground. Okay, so you have to insert it like this, and 14 is for VCC. So this I have left the last row, so this is 14. 14 is for VCC. I told you na, VCC is plus 4 volts, or in digital logic we call it as logic 1, and ground is 0 volts, we call it as logic 0. Okay, so now I have inserted this. So now I told you we have 4 gates here, 4 gates in this particular IC. So when I am trying, I will just show for 1 or 2 gates. The same thing, same this one will apply for the others. So now here for this gate, 1 is the input. Okay, so I am giving to some input slot. I can give anywhere here, any of these slots I can use for input. Then 2 for the second input. Okay, anywhere I can give the input. Then 3 is your output. Okay, here also I can use any slot. I'll give 3 to the output. Okay, so now this is one gate. What I'm for testing, I can just show you for one gate. Then if I want for the other gate, then 4 and 5 becomes the input, 6 is the output. Okay, like this you can use the other slots as well. So now I have connected this, and I told you this is 7408 IC. So what are the inputs? If I have 2 inputs, what are the combinations? 00, 01, 10 and 11. So 00 means it is switches off. See here, the light is also not glowing. The output is also 0. Now I will make it 01. Okay, so 01, the output is 0, because an AND gate gives a high output only when both the inputs are high. Okay, so for 01 also you got a low output. Then for 10 I am getting a low output. Then for 11 I am getting a high output. Okay, so this is how an AND gate works. Okay, so now you can try different combinations like this. If you have 3 input AND gates and all, for 3 inputs you can check like this. You can do for the other gates as well. So I will just, what I will do for 7432, I will